Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'll be talking to my friend John O'Callahan from the Maine. Let's go.
Smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times. I don't want to have bad.
John,
Good afternoon.
thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me.
I'm stoked to talk to you.
Likewise.
So, to me, the Maine has really kind of written the book for like a modern. Think about when you guys started, early 2000s, let's just say. In the last 20 years, the industry changed. You guys were. Everyone says like, "Oh my God, how was it when everything changed and everything went to streaming?" I was like, it was bad for bands who were selling CDs in the 90s. You know, we came up in that time, and so we weren't ready for it. But there was a whole crop of bands that like charged the hill and were born into it. So that's all they know. So all you guys have known, it feels like, as a band is an ever-changing, fast-moving music industry landscape type, you know, where you just have to be resourceful and innovative and do things different. And it feels to me like you guys wrote the book on independent career, like a band that can actually have an independent career where you've built this huge fan base. You behave, to me, it's like watching you guys has made me just feel really good about what's possible for bands coming behind you.
I appreciate
that
it.
can build a life for themselves and be independent and feel.
I think very early on we looked at other bands and definitely not like emulating their exact maneuvers, but like what is it about artists that you look up to? Like why do you revere these people in such high regard? And like a band like Wilco.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity to just tour their loft by chance in Chicago. And that band to us is like the perfect example of like where we'd like to be, you know, in 20 years or in 30 years, and just continuing to create, but on your own terms, you know. And
totally.
I think being intuitive and following that intuition, I think, is really important. I think we turned inward very early. And I think we tried to, and maybe to a fault, you know, I think we probably closed ourselves off to a lot of maybe relationships that could have been beneficial and people that could have helped a lot. But I think we had to figure out who we were and what principles we stood for early so that could slowly open the door to like, all right, now we're willing to, you know, operate in somebody else's world and let people into our world and not be so closed off to the idea of collaboration. We were at the very tail end. So when our first record came out, I think 2007, they were still selling records, right? But it was, I think we were at the very, very end of that.
Yeah.
And it's been a constant pivot from every platform. You know, we started on MySpace, and before we even toured, we were messaging people 4 hours, 5 hours a day. Just, hey, check our music out. Hey, if we ever come on tour, come check us out.
Right.
And that still kind of remains the same, but it's just a different platform, a different name now. So it's ever evolving for sure.
Yeah. We met on that first record, your first tourings, one of your early tours.
It was our first big tour.
Okay.
Yeah. The first couple tours were just, I mean, DIY, just like suburban, playing to nobody, seeing people in West Virginia smoke crack outside the venue.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know the vibe.
It gets weird. It just gets weird.
But that was our, yeah, I remember Chicago was the first show of that Soundtrack of Your Summer tour.
Yeah.
And we went into it, you know, obviously being huge fans of Good Charlotte, growing up on your music. And we went into it. I remember being in the van and being like, I wonder if we'll like meet anybody.
Yeah.
Like not being really familiar with tours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember we're all sitting in our dressing room and you and Benj came in and just were like, hey, what's up, guys? And I don't even know if any of us spoke. I think we were just like,
I always found you guys to be very thoughtful and quiet
Yeah.
But one of my favorite bands after meeting you and then going on to watch you guys over the years, and certainly we've run into each other and our bands have run into each other over the years, but watching people from that point where it's early and seeing who they become is a thing. It's really gratifying to see people that you thought were who they are. That's who you guys are. You guys have always been thoughtful. To me, it looks very natural. Like, it looks like you guys are being who you are. This journey you guys have been on and this thing you've built, it feels right to me. And like Wilco is one of the bands that actually me and Benj talk about with you guys. When we try to predict outcomes for people, when we see the path they're on, because that's a real thing too, is like predicting outcomes is a part of life that I don't think that we give enough credit to. Like, we make it more of like, I hope this works. But if we stop and we go, what outcome would we like? Can we organize towards that and then adjust as we go? And we can't completely control the outcome, but we can imagine an outcome that we like.
Only in the last few years have we actually vocalized what goals are. And I think that is a really big thing that we were sleeping on for so long because...
But we're not taught to do that.
No, but also it can feel unnatural, I don't know a ton about speaking things into existence, but vocalizing goal setting helps create that shared synergy, like that energy that's put behind a shared vision. And I think we have just been kind of going with the flow for so long and kind of internalizing all those
and making gut decisions and
when you have a band of multiple people, there might be 5 different visions, they all might be circling the same kind of, same general area. But yeah, I think when you vocalize it and everybody's like, oh yeah, that would be amazing to play this venue, or that would be amazing to do this idea. I think that's definitely helped us in the past couple of years, for sure.
So me and Benj talk about you guys, and we name bands like Wilco, even Pearl Jam, bands that like have gone their own road, and it's a long road,
and it's a tough road.
It's a tough road, but it's a culture that you build slowly. We
got so lucky with the group of people that follow and dig what we do to have that. Sometimes it was a big group, sometimes it was a not so big group, but there was always a core of people that were like, yeah, we'll follow you down this crazy idea, down this crazy path. And I think we got so fortunate that we got that core group because it allowed us to sometimes waver, to sometimes falter, and to sometimes succeed, and I think, there's that old, like, the 1,000 true fan model or whatever, that I don't know who coined it, but it really is a real thing, because when we were on MySpace, those first shows didn't have anybody there. But even if there were 6 people, some of those 6 people still go to shows 16 years later.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that were spreading the word and helping the whole thing permeate to bigger groups. And then sometimes when we put out our 3rd record and we were like, total fuck you to the label, that group got small, but it was still pretty concentrated. And I think we just got really, really fortunate. And
now do you guys have your own label?
So we have done the past couple records with Photo Finish.
Okay.
So Mike Marquis, who books us.
Yep.
And again, we'd been so closed off to the idea, but to have people in their camp that are familiar with where we come from, made it less scary.
Yeah.
Made it like, okay, Mike's been around since day one. So it made it a lot easier than just hey, let's go sign a big deal and that be it.
Yeah.
Pat and I we're dads, so Thanksgiving's a big deal, and
big time.
Both of our wives are pregnant, so
with number 2,
Pat this will be his 3rd.
Okay.
And this will be my 2nd.
2's good. Yeah. I have 2.
And my dad keeps saying it's man coverage at 2, but you go to zone when you got more than 2. So
that's it.
Yeah.
So I find with 2 kids, it's really nice. It's really easy. The first year you're getting used to it. Like you have the baby and then it takes like 12 to 18 months to get like adjusted.
Sure.
But then once you get through that, it's easy, smooth sailing, man. It's such
my
a
toddler right now, it's like legitimately living with an insane person.
Yeah.
Like so much to the point where I'm like, I'm scared around, like, oh, what if, what do you need? Like just trying to diffuse another outburst.
Yeah, ticking.
Oh, God.
Toddlers are wild, man. They're like coming into the world and just like grabbing everything.
For sure.
But then you miss it. It's wild and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And then they're 7 and you're like, oh man, I miss. And now my kids are teenagers and you get a little sad. You're like,
for sure.
Oh.
I blinked and she's about to be 2, and it's.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. You got to savor every minute of it. My kids are 14 and 15, about to be 16, and
yeah. So I would have met. I don't even know if I would have met.
We met before I had kids.
Yeah.
So my first kid was in 2008. So it was right around the time.
That was very close to the time. Yeah.
So Nicole would have been pregnant when we met, probably, or maybe we would have had that first kid around.
I think you did. I think you did. You actually definitely did, because I remember
we definitely had the baby on tour.
Yeah,
definitely had.
Yeah,
Harlow was on the road with us, and then my son came in 2009. It's those first 2, 3, 4, 5 years of getting your family set up and figuring out how do we do this. It's like. I always kind of go back to building businesses and building things. It takes like 5 years to get your core system down. And then after that, it's like there was no life before that. It's hard to remember.
Did the second kid really fuck the system up?
No, it actually made it better.
Okay.
And it's because it's so easy. The 4 of us we can travel.
Yeah.
We can... a foursome is really good.
I'm not saying now. I'm saying the immediate shock of it. Was it like? I'm just trying to prep here, dude.
Parenting is no matter parenting is work.
Yeah.
Just like anything else. This is my perspective. So anyone else that's listening that's a parent can tell me you're wrong. But this is my philosophy. You get out what you put in. It's hard, but you just got to figure it out with each little challenge that comes. This kid has this, or that kid's doing that. And then you have to work with your partner to figure out what works for both of you. So another thing, I think I've been married for 13 years this December, but I've been with Nicole for 17 years. And people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know how we do it. I think it's where there's room for both of us to be right and wrong. And we don't pretend that we're this perfect. I'm very careful to try to show the world my family, because I think sometimes we show these perfect pictures. And like, I know how hard it is to do things like build a family, build a company. So I'm always careful. Like, of course we want to celebrate the wins. And we want to show people like, look, we won. We celebrate another anniversary or whatever. But the truth is just the whole time you're just working, just like the band. You're just figuring it out as you go, and you're trying to make gut decisions with hopefully a vision of the future together. And I think it's something like what you said. Talking about what you would like this to become is important for just not only your business or your band, but your marriage or your relationship as well. And you gotta have 2 people participating in that. So I think like with raising kids, you're just kind of figuring it out as you go. It feels like you're spinning all these plates. It always feels like you're like behind the ball a little bit. You're always kind of tired.
Yeah,
I think that's the experience that everyone has.
Yeah.
And if you just commit to that, what I now tell new parents is like, even though this is your first kid, just remember you're not the first people to have a baby. No matter what, it's great if you discover a new way to do this. That's great, right? Because I also have that experience where these new parents will be like, this is what we're doing. We've got them on this system. And I'm like,
when we were having our first, my dad, again, you know, you buy all the stuff. You got to get the diaper warm, the wipe warmer and all this crap. And he's like, God forbid we don't have the, you know, the diaper warmer. How would the baby ever survive?
How has any baby ever
lived?
Baby in the history of babies survived without
that? Was definitely a comforting thing, you know, where it's like,
you got to remember that.
Yeah.
And old guys, we say that we're like, oh, like, trust me, like babies were being born in mangers, right? Your baby's fine.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. I'm not being sacrilegious. I just say, I say things like that because it's like, guys, the baby's...
This has been going on for a while.
The baby's okay. Yeah. And if you take the weight out of it and you just go, but you do get what you put in, you get out. Mm-hmm. So especially men, we have a tendency to want to disconnect, run, detach from things that we don't understand or things that feel, you know, uncomfortable or unnatural or whatever. And I always say, like, try to stick in there where you get uncomfortable and like sit in the discomfort as long as you can and gain some resilience.
I mean, but isn't that, I mean, not to like tie it back into the music thing, but isn't that, or just any venture that you're on, that's kind of the place of most growth, right? Like that's where
the uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, there's that great, I think it's David Bowie quote, but it's like, he always wanted to wade out into the water and that feeling of not being able to touch, right? When you get off the shore to not being able to touch the ground anymore. That's where he always wanted to be. And I think that's such a vivid kind of picture of how growth happens, you know?
I totally agree. I think that most people, when you go into uncharted territory for yourself, you want some comfort and reassurance, but that doesn't exist there. Mm-hmm. The only comfort and reassurance I can give to someone that's starting anything or building anything is like, if it feels like you're threading the needle and you're just keeping your head above water, that means you're doing it because that's what it feels like the whole time. And I think we even just like in our businesses and lives, we still feel like we have accomplished nothing and we're still keeping our head above water because we're pushing forward and we keep going into deeper waters. And I think that like you just start to get a ton of resilience around that feeling of like, I don't know exactly which move is next, but I think I'm going to feel it when it's time and I've just got to keep gaining ground.
And that's the feeling that probably generally separates whether or not a person continues down a path or not. And I think that is probably the most sound piece of advice that I could offer a person starting out any venture, whether it's a band or a business or anything.
And even a family.
Even a family is just the biggest difference between people is there are people that do and there are people that run. And I think that that's the biggest thing for us and our band has been just continuing. Like when
just
it got
keep
hard,
going forward.
It got hard, it got shitty. You just have to keep your head down and keep plowing. And yeah, that's I'm scared to have a second kid.
Everything that I am today and that I do today exists because of my family. And I say like I work to support my family habit. So I love what I do. I love my job, but my family, it's next level. It's my religion. It's sacred ground for me. And Good Charlotte, interesting, like was the model for me because I didn't have a very like good model for how to build a family. So my parents struggled in that department. Lot of good, they both had good qualities, but they definitely didn't have the tool set to build a family.
Sure.
So that experiment failed miserably for them. And that was my model. Because it does feel like when you meet someone, you say, I want to spend my life with you, an experiment. And we add the wrong things into the experiment, it blows up. But if you add the right things, it can be this really good thing. But I'll meet younger couples that are starting down that road, and they'll get into that first year of marriage or second year of marriage, first kid. And they'll be like, this is really tough. I don't know if we can do it. That's how all of us feel when we're climbing a mountain.
Absolutely.
This is tough. Can I do it? Everyone's asked themselves that question, and I don't care who you are. So you got to remember that every time anyone's gone down this, climbed this mountain before, they said, wow, this is really tough. It's steep. Can I do it? And the ones who did it kept going. So I always say, like, you just got to keep doing it.
It sounds like such a platitude.
Yeah.
Like the just do it. But it's like as you get older, these platitudes just start making more sense. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. That's why that person's been saying that for.
And even if you think this thing you guys are dealing with is a big thing, it will be a small thing further up the mountain, right? And so you got to keep climbing together. You got to make room for each other, and you got to have grace with each other. I've been lucky. I have a partner who's very gracious. Like, she just never met anyone like her who can just not judge, right? Once she's decided she likes you, she likes you. So I think that's been a big deal for me. I've learned a lot from that, because I used to be a little and I think that was my own insecurity. It was like too harsh. Like, why would you do that? And it's not personal. A lot of times when people make mistakes, it's not personal. They made a mistake on their own. They're dealing with their own shit. Now, you both have to want to grow, improve, get better as people individually and together. But like I always tell new married couples, people in relationships, and anywhere in the first 10 years, like, by year 10, you will have figured out a bunch of shit, and you'll never have to figure it out again. And you can build a really powerful thing that powers the rest of your life. Because I really believe that, like, this second version of our career, where we've been doing things that we think are interesting, is powered by great family, by wives who support us. We can go home on a bad day and shut it off and recharge, and it gives us that energy to go in the next day and keep going forward.
Totally.
And if we didn't have that, I think we wouldn't have the ability to kind of navigate new waters and build these things we're building. So family to me is like super powerful for your own success.
Absolutely. Especially having somebody that supports a lifestyle that's not as routine.
Not conventional.
Not conventional.
Yeah.
Being away is tough, but being supported by somebody that understands.
Now, is it wives and kids now backstage? Is it like a family function?
It's definitely changing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good vibe.
Absolutely. It's it's not rowdy. Rowdy is like, we got pineapple on our pizza.
Yeah, that's wild. Wild.
So for me, I love it.
I ordered pizza the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get a slice of Hawaiian. I don't know why. I was listening
I'm feeling crazy.
I was listening to a podcast or something.
I might even go get a milkshake.
And
I don't know.
I took a couple bites of the Hawaiian slice, and I got right back to my my staple pizza is half cheese, half pepperoni, and mushroom.
All right. I feel like in our camp, it's like, everybody says, let's get pepperoni, and then we get a cheese and it's demolished.
You always have to get a cheese because it will be gone. Everyone always thinks they want toppings, and then they see the cheese and they're like, God, a good slice of cheese pizza. Good.
I think on the last tour, we got pizza literally every single night.
Do you guys eat? Is anyone else here a big Hawaiian pizza guy?
I don't know, mix it up. The salty sweet.
Salty sweet. Every now and then.
Yeah.
They had pineapple wrapped in bacon at my cousin's wedding.
Oh, dang.
Oh.
See, I'm not really, I'm fine with the pineapple. I'm not a ham guy.
Ham,
I could vibe the bacon wrap.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right.
He's getting spicy, bro.
Yeah.
So it's coming up on 20 years for
Yeah.
you guys as a band, if it hasn't already hit.
Yeah, well, it's 16 right now. 17 will be January.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's, speaking of like vocalizing goals and, that's the next we got to figure out, because just like it's really easy to get wrapped up in the moment,
Yeah.
and And it's really, really difficult sometimes to see a couple years down the road, but that's the next big milestone for us.
You feel like you've done everything you set out to do, or do you feel like, do you get down the road and go, oh, we didn't set the bar high enough there. Let's move the bar up. Let's keep going. Like, do you feel that?
I think kind of like you said, it's really, maybe to a fault sometimes I get too focused on not appreciating things that we have and things that we've accomplished, just in hopes to keep going, to keep accomplishing new things.
I'm the same way, dude.
It's like, not that I'm not happy. It's just like, well, why aren't you acknowledging that this thing was really awesome? And even like last night, sometimes, first show, it's not that I was bummed out. It was an amazing show. San Diego was sick. It was awesome. But it was like, I had a lot of like, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. And it's kind of that same approach to the band that like, I just feel like I need to take a step back sometimes. And I think having a kid puts a timeline on things.
Yeah.
You start seeing like, oh, this is when they were crawling. Oh, that was when I played that show. Oh, this is when they were walking. That's when I did that thing. And I think that helps put some perspective on things. This tour somehow it'll be our most successful tour in all 16 years that we've been a band.
Yeah, I believe that.
But it's one of those ones where you're saying like, did we set the bar high enough? Or we're experiencing the bar right now. Like, what's going to come after this? Like, what are we set ourselves a new precedent? Like, what is next? And I think that's the confusing part. And that's like, again, that uncomfortable zone where it's like, and maybe that's the best place to be.
I've never gotten comfortable, but I'll tell you this. I think from my experience, because I'm 10 years ahead of you probably in life. I'm at least 10 years older than you. One, I think you have to separate two things, because I had to learn how to celebrate in moments where something good happened, because I was so focused on I never stopped thinking about forward, next. I think that's a strength. And I don't think we need to change that.
Sure.
I think you got to kind of embrace that about yourself. We're a bit like athletes in some ways, but the game I always thought I wanted to be an athlete. I just wasn't a very good athlete. But I loved sports, and I loved watching people achieve things. It looked like, and also watching a guy stand up there and get a trophy, or to me, it just looked like that's what you want in life. I never got a trophy, but I wanted a trophy, and I think that was my own self-esteem thing. But I don't think it's bad that we go into everything we do in the creative space. My brain always organizes around, okay, now how do we get this? How do we do this? How do we go forward? But learning how to do that, and at the same time, not wrestle with it, and just know that's just who I am. And then also have a relationship with my brother where he can go, okay, not right now. Like that's a thought you just keep to yourself right now, while the rest of us over here, we celebrate this little milestone or this thing we achieved, however big or small it feels to you. Because I just don't think, we could get the biggest thing in the world, and to me, it still just doesn't feel like that big, because that's not how I'm measuring like how I feel. For sure. I just want to go forward.
For sure.
It's hard
and then you get a taste of like, oh, that's achievable, and now I'm hungrier, and it's like, and that's the insatiable kind of.
But I learned something about it. As I talked to my therapist about it. I love my therapist. He's a fucking G. He's just like, you're a gamer. You're playing a game. It's not the size. You could get a big win. You could get a small win, and you do enjoy it. You do kind of like spike the football, but then you go right back and you're like, okay, next play. Cause you're like this highly ADD, ADHD, obsessive person.
Caffeine,
fiend. Nicotine, go. And he's like, you just need to learn how to drive. What I've kind of used the metaphor as because flying the plane is learning how to fly the plane is like learning when and where, and becoming super conscious of like the aspects of you, and then how to contain certain aspects of you so that they don't mess things up in certain places. Sure. So when I'm with my kids, I need to turn that off or contain it.
That's the tough bit.
It is. They're not gaming like you are. They may want to just do something to express themselves, and they don't care how it scales. And I'm thinking like the minute they do something like, okay, this is what we could do. We could start a brand. We could do this and you could do that. And that's the thing I've had to learn how to contain, because it's a game I like to play.
Yeah.
That not everybody wants to play, but people can participate in different ways. And I think like learning how to celebrate milestones and take a minute and be there with the group and not be in my head off dreaming up some other thing is like an exercise I had to learn how to do. Just like being present with my family was a practice that it took me 10 years and a lot of work. And it was really frustrating for my wife a lot of times, because I was always thinking off in la la land about the next adventure, instead of just being there, being present. And I think we have to learn how to love ourselves completely in what we are and the quirks we have and the things we have, and then learn how to organize them all. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But family, they teach you that. Like that to me
I was gonna say, having a dynamic around you, whether it's your immediate family or your family on the road or whoever it is, I think it's got to be a testament why you guys are still around, and it's got to be a testament why we're still around.
no doubt.
And
Family.
that's a really difficult thing to articulate to somebody who asks, like, well, why is Good Charlotte still around as a band?
Couldn't even explain.
That's what I'm saying. And I think first and foremost, you just got to be able to be yourself around that unit and enjoy each other's company. I think that's a big
You got to
thing
love each other.
Yeah.
Because you see bands that are still together,
But you can tell.
but you kind of go like, it just feels like they're phoning it in. And it doesn't look fun.
The Eagles.
Yeah, you're like, let's get together and do a big tour and like make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That's tempting for anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But
Creed.
yeah, like it's true. I don't know. I couldn't give you a good example, but I've seen it before, and it's on the tip of my tongue where I've seen a band and I'd be like, man, that they literally all just stepped on stage and are just getting through this.
I mean, it's very difficult to live. I mean, we have now, as of today, we have 13 people on our bus. It's very difficult to live
On top of each other.
that close proximity to somebody and not go to, blows at some point.
But just like a marriage, you got to have grace with each other.
Absolutely. And fortunately, I mean, with your camp back when we first met you with Gary and all that crew,
Gary Farinchek.
I mean, it's like,
I just saw him.
did you?
He came out. We did the Vegas show.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
When were
we
young?
got the whole crew together. We got Mark, our tour manager,
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Holloway.
Yeah.
Gary Farinchek. A bunch of people came out. I mean, we had a big crew there. We brought the whole GC machine back.
That's amazing.
As far as like production, pyro. So we had a big crew, and it was such a nice like family reunion.
I mean,
for
you
all of
guys
us.
taught us so much about that by just operating the way you did and employing the people around you that you did. And that we took a page completely out of your book. And
Well, they
just
taught us too.
surrounded ourselves with quality people that you trust their character, you trust them.
They raised us.
Absolutely.
What I learned from the good people in the early years of my career and in my formative kind of adult years, because I think I was a late bloomer. I think I was really unevolved and unkind of conscious until my mid-20s probably. I think that's when I started going like, oh, I'm an adult, what I learned from those guys that I definitely try to carry, and I think I have now, is I don't think we give enough credit to values. How many people stop and go, what are my values? Like, what are the key values that I think are the most important to the core of who I am and what I do? Can I establish up on the wall at MDDN, we have our values, like our core values. I think if you actually take the time to sit down as a group and go like, what are our values? I think I learned that from those guys that were the adults in the room when we were touring. And then I think now I look at if our values align. When I'm going to do anything with anyone, I try to establish, like, do my values line up with theirs? And not from a perspective of I'm better than them or they're better than me. More just, will this work because I think also with family, I actually believe that my touring crew and band, when I say Good Charlotte, we grew up together from high school. I actually believe that they gave me the value system and the model to actually have a wife and kids and be 17 years into it and go, oh, I actually have a family. That was the model. And then what the family taught me was values. So I think that you start to become more and more conscious of, like, this is in line with who we are and what we do, and this is not. So yes and no is super, you get there really quick. You're not confused, and you tend to be more productive when you're making the right calls. And I think values are more important than almost like the perceived result of something. And those touring days, those early touring days, and those guys, Gary, Mark, all the guys around they really nurtured, like, good values. And there were certainly people around too that nurtured bad values as well. And those people kind of just, like, found their way out naturally, because when you really do hold the value, like, paramount to everything, it really, like, clarifies lots of stuff. But I think one thing I had to learn how to do is actually, like you said, say our idea of our vision, our goal, or the result we'd like. The same way you have to say that, you also have to, like, define your values and kind of, like, figure out, like, at the core, like, what do you value the most? Because you can also, I'm not saying, like, all values are, like, honesty and you know.
I think there's also just a natural gravitational thing that happens. Right? Like, it's like when you're younger and your parents are like, don't hang out with the bad kids. You know, sometimes you hang out with the bad kids and you figure out whether or not you like the bad stuff or not.
Birds of a feather flock together. Where you're like, yeah, they do, but also you want to fly in a couple different flocks sometimes.
I think the older that I get, the more I realize, like, and especially having a family, I just want to be very intentional with my time. You know, I think time is the most valuable thing we have to share. And I think intention is really, really important. And I think having the intention of, like, I'm going to spend time with this person, because I think subconsciously you're not really thinking, I mean, maybe you are, but I don't think I'm really thinking, like, out loud, like, the values that this person has. I'm just, you know, I think I'm just gravitating towards character and towards those values and choosing to spend time with those people, as opposed to, in my opinion, wasting time with I guess, energies that don't really provide.
Yeah, that's just feel and good instincts. Like, it goes back to the Maine. You guys have good instincts. You know who you are. It seems like that. And you make Maine decisions. That's what it feels like when you watch from the outside. It doesn't feel like you're being pulled.
Even if you don't know, even if we haven't known who we were fully in on whatever it was that we were doing.
You guys
are dope. I think you just gotta do.
You guys are dope.
Do that. Thank you.
It's one of the bands I've been the happiest to watch.
That's awesome.
Our bands have always had a great relationship with each other. It feels like true, warm support. There's zero in the middle that isn't just all, you know, it's weird because you know that, like, it's hard to sometimes relate to bands. Like, they're all these they're just different organisms, and we're all just like kids at a party together. It feels like, I think sometimes. And so you're kind of like, I think, like, then there's those relationships that just feel like pure. And that's how it's felt from the day we met you guys on that tour. For the rest of time, it's just felt like nothing but warm love, support.
Yeah, likewise.
Happy for you. It's interesting because over the years too, like, you interact here and there where you're like, we're doing something and we'll be like, hey, do you guys want to do this? Or you guys have always supported everything we've done. down to come in on this podcast. You've always supported every endeavor we've ever had, any which way you could, whether it was coming on a tour or just supporting by wishing us well. Like there's a real pure, like,
I think it's always because we've looked up to you guys as one of those Wilco blueprints, right? And I think
that's a compliment.
I had a sort of one of those revelatory thoughts when we first started touring, like the very first tour that we went on. And it was sort of like a more of an idea of like, all right, we're from Phoenix, Arizona, and it's just, 7, 8 dudes in a van. And, you meet these other bands that are from different parts of the US, sometimes different parts of the world. And it blew my mind to think like you found these like kindred spirits and could connect almost like that immediacy. Like I just thought it was so amazing. And so like, I don't know the last time I saw you, but it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
It's been a long time, but it doesn't feel long.
Pick right back up.
You don't age either.
And it's really bizarre, and
it's
that's
bizarre.
kind of a beautiful thing. And it's really wild, and I think
that's how all my friends are. We could not see each other for 2 years. When we get back together, it's like no time has passed because I don't feel we're not beholden to each other. You don't owe me anything. And so when we're in the room together, there is no question of why haven't we seen each other sooner.
Totally.
You guys are one of those bands, man. And I think it has a lot to do with your own self-confidence to be yourself. It's interesting. The Maine is unique to itself. But you think about Wilco, unique to themselves. Pearl Jam, unique to themselves. They make decisions that they make.
It's very unapologetic.
And I think that's something that you guys had a real, it felt from the outside. You had a real conviction of like, this is what we're doing.
I mean,
it influenced us for sure.
I appreciate it. I think we were forced, sort of. We were shoved around pretty early. That it was, our second record was on Warner, and then within the first 5 weeks or something of the release, it was like a whole different team, and they had already moved on to pushing Green Day's record, and it was like, well, we're not.
It's a valuable lesson to learn early.
It was tough, because you recorded to all these meetings, and we have these big dreams and big hopes for you, and then reality sets in, and it's like
no one's coming back for you.
No. So I think we had to abandon the idea of like using somebody else as a crutch or as like, I think we just got really, really hardened early. And then I think a lot of maybe our peers along the way could have misinterpreted that for like a pretentiousness or a maybe we were too self-confident, but I think we were always just like,
we loved it.
We just wanted to fight for ourselves, and I think we didn't really do a lot of second guessing, for better or worse. It was like, we want to go record to tape, and that could sound pretentious, especially at the time that we did it on our 4th record. And it's like, what we took from that experience was so important. That was like the moment that I thought that we were finally a band,
It's just something you needed to do.
Yeah. And I think we've always just done those things. And it's always, it's funny because it's like haircuts. And it's like when you were young, whatever haircut you were rocking, you were rocking. You know, you were fully in, you know, bowl right across or whatever it was, buzz cut, whatever. And then you can look back and you can go, I fully loved that. I believed in that. That was my haircut. That was my vibe. And I think it's really easy to look back and be like, that was silly. But it wasn't silly at the time.
No.
And I think every step of the way we've been fully,
and it got you here.
We've been fully in,
Yeah. And it got you here. Isn't it funny though that one of the moments that you could perceive as the worst moment of your career, you could say like, speaking of bands, right? Like the label drops you, right? They always say drops. That's not actually accurate. We've come to a juncture that we no longer want to invest, and we're parting ways. right? So they use the word drop in a very kind of like disrespectful way, I find, that like just is not true to business. Businesses, we're parting ways, right? And in relationships, we're parting ways. We don't see a future together, right? Period. But you could say one of those moments, like that album comes out within 5 weeks, it's a new team, they've moved on. This is the worst moment of our career, right? Actually, probably one of the most important moments of your career.
Oh, for sure.
And had it not happened, you wouldn't be who you are.
1,000%.
And you wouldn't have learned the truth of life, which is no one's coming back to save you. You know what yes feels like because when you play that show in San Diego, it's a yes. You guys are met with yeses most of the time now because I think you've just become this unique thing that a bunch of people agree on.
That's awesome.
But it's all the years it's taken. And you can feel those years in your music. That's also the other question is like, what does this become in when we're older? Like Good Charlotte. I always wondered, like, what does Good Charlotte become? And then we play this show and I realized like, oh, we became us. I don't know exactly what
that is
how to explain Good Charlotte to people, but we're a band. We've been together since high school. We love each other. And when we go out there, whether it's one show or 10 shows, we care about it and we put on the best show we can. And we love this thing more than we ever have. I think we're the most protective of it now than we've ever been in our life. And it's special. I can't even tell you what the legacy of Good Charlotte will be. I don't even know, but I know I love it. And I know the band, when we have these conversations about, are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? Everybody's just thinking of how it makes us feel. What do you think the next 10 years of the Maine looks like?
I think similar to what you're saying is like, I don't really know about legacy. As far as who the band is, I know that we've tried to maintain good character over the entirety of our band. I can guarantee that we've been the best people we've could have been.
You guys are good guys.
Thanks. You guys are too.
You're a non-toxic band.
But I just think everything else is out of our hands. You know, as long as we're still abiding by those not rules, but just the idea that we're all in, you know, as long as we do that, we can, I don't know, we could dissipate in a couple of years. I don't even know. I think we've already exceeded where we thought this thing would go. So everything else is just kind of cream right now.
What album number are you guys on?
This is 9.
Wow.
It's a lot of albums.
I think that's more than us.
We just fell into that. Like, it was a very cyclical thing. It was like 2 years. All right, another album. 2 years, another album. And it's just the balance. I love making records. Like, I love being in the studio. Not to say I don't love being on the road, but I definitely love the studio more.
Yeah.
There's just something about
making stuff.
Making things.
Yeah.
That just, it's addictive, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully 10 years we're still able to do that. I guess that would be like the ideal outcome. We're still able to make records, people still give a hoot, and we're still able to play shows.
What's a version of what are the things that could keep you guys own your own studio? What could stop you from ever making records?
I mean, nothing, because at this point I know that I'll still make music regardless of if people listen to it or not.
Yeah.
So that's amazing to know.
Yeah.
As like, even if I go become a CPA or something, I can still make records. And even, like maybe my kids will listen to them or something, you know?
And maybe they'll be making records.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I think like being around bands like you guys, like there's a video on YouTube of you guys playing Rock 'em Ring.
Yeah.
And it's like
120,000
people.
Crazy amount.
But to see a band like y'all achieve something like that, those are the things that are embedded in our subconscious. Like, hey, these things are achievable.
They are.
And I think those are the things that will keep us hungry over the next 10 years. And it's not blowing smoke. It's an amazing thing that you guys have been able to build and accomplish.
It's funny though, because when you're doing it,
You don't think about it.
you don't think about
Yeah.
it. You're just showing up. Germany was an interesting market. It was really good. It's a really big Good Charlotte. Like, and it's such a big place. You could tour Germany for a month and do all these college towns you've never heard of. And we did a lot of that touring there. But then it culminates to this moment where we've done that festival a few times, and it culminates to one of those big moments that's caught on, film, and then you see it. And it's definitely one of those ones where like at the time I didn't even really know what we were
Comprehend.
stepping out on
Yeah.
stage to.
I mean, but how could you? And also, what does that look like when you're, do you even see the back of the crowd?
Yeah, and
Like-
but when we were young was interesting, was very similar. It was like 90,000 people watching. And I'd argue in 2023, one of our biggest kind of audiences that were there knew all the words. I mean, Germany was that too. So that would definitely be a show that I would put on the list of like best shows that you've ever played where it was like a big audience that knew your music and were singing every word to all the songs. When We Were Young was another one of those moments where afterwards someone showed me the drone footage of
the crowd.
the entire crowd, and you could hear the entire crowd singing the songs. And we didn't know that either. We had no idea how people were going to receive. It's been 5 years. We thought it'd be a good show.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were excited to play it. Lots of friends there. But after the fact, when you watch the tape and you go, oh, wow, that was bigger than I thought.
And those are the moments that you can finally like bask in a little bit.
You go, that was
And
cool.
You can go, wow,
That was cool.
Good job.
Yeah. and you also realize like music doesn't go away. When you've made music that people have shared in the moments of their life, right? You're doing that together. So you're making records for the people that are listening to it, and then they're applying that record in
their
different
world.
places in their world. And you have to give that a few years, especially with organic music. It takes root, and then a tree grows, and then it becomes a different meaning. Like Good Charlotte's music today means something different than it did, 15 years ago. But that's a good thing. And it's
great
evolved
thing.
into something, and I think you guys are another one of those bands. You're making these records, and a song from that record and a song from that record, they take root and they find their way like art. It's like it means something to see a Basquiat painting now than it did 20 years ago. And it continues to evolve in the collective consciousness of like, what does this thing mean? And I think that, so you do have to like wait and see. You have to have like a wait and see approach. Do you guys manage yourselves?
Tim Kirch, so
Okay.
Pat's older brother, our drummer's older brother, has been our manager since day one.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's really almost like a silent member of the band
100%.
and its family.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the driving force behind the, what's the word? The strategy and execution and operation? I would say with Good Charlotte, it's Benj. He just has a mind for it. He doesn't necessarily want to be out in front. I took that role on naturally when we started because he likes to be kind of next to me, but he doesn't necessarily want to go out all the time. But the tip of the spear when it comes to like, let's create a plan and a strategy and let's operate this thing. He tends to drive the business. Who would you say?
There's always usually one.
Yeah, there's always a guy that has a mind for it.
Yeah.
Who would you say that is?
I mean, in the band, it's definitely Pat.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, ever since I've known him, even before, because I've known Tim since 6th grade.
Yeah.
So Pat is 2 years behind in school. And even since the moment I met him, he was like, we would be vacationing in San Diego, and he would go to the library to get internet so that he could look up bands and he could study bands. And, oh my God, did you hear this new My American Heart album? Or did you hear this whatever? And that's always been him. And it's continued to be. I think him and his brother work side by side, but it's definitely Pat for our band.
Right.
You know, because Tim has other ventures, but Tim is very Maine centric.
Yeah, he's woven in. It makes a lot of sense to me. I always thought, I always kind of perceived that you guys managed yourselves, but that makes sense to me.
I mean, essentially we do. Like
I
you're
knew
saying,
Tim was involved, but it feels like a family organization. And I always say, like, there's people who, and I say this in a good way because we are those kind. We're unmanageable. I cannot sit at a table and have someone manage me.
Yeah.
I need to be at the table with them, and I need to know all the information, good or bad, and then we can collaborate a plan and then execute, and then I'll go back out and be lead singer and pretend I don't know what's going on. But I need to feel like I have a seat at the table. I don't want to be managed.
Yeah.
And going back to that artist-manager relationship, I think some artists, it's too painful or scary, or it feels validating to not have to look at that or whatever it is. I don't think there's a wrong way, but I think there is a lot you can get out of understanding how something operates, even if you're not operating it. Benj was always that guy. He wanted to know, give me the information, let's make a plan.
Sure.
And he wanted to feel respected in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Tim has been essentially just
A real good partner.
A sixth member.
Yeah, sixth member.
Like, and that's really what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it felt like that even in our friend group back home, where it was like he was pseudo manager of like the group of friends that we had, and it's always felt natural, and it felt like same reason that you know, we wanted to work with Mike Marquis is like he's been there since day one. We know that we don't have to explain things to him. We don't have to explain why we don't want to do this or why we want to do this.
Or in those moments, like, give me the information.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the pop sense of the world, where I've seen it, some artists will have this big tour idea and they're like, I just want to do that. And okay, let's stop. Let's talk about the cost before. And so that we understand, like, we're going to lose money on this tour. That conversation is not actually a hard conversation, but you see sometimes where people are afraid to say the reality, and the reality helps us
Absolutely
plan for everything. And I think that, like, we've always just wanted the reality of the situation so we can make a decision in relationship to reality,
based on that,
not in relationship to a fantasy. And I think that's the difference sometimes I see in artists. Sometimes I see that from the outside perspective, right? I may not know all of the facts. So I'm open to being wrong in some ways, but I think dealing in reality while you build a fantasy type brand is important. And again, like, it's just one of those features I think I've noticed about you guys. It feels like you have your heads on and you're grounded and you're making really smart decisions.
Thank you.
I think we've just always respected you guys.
Likewise.
Run a good shop.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for showing me this place.
Oh man, thanks for coming. I'm so stoked you're here.
Likewise.
Cool, man.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming.
Fuck yeah.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Artist Friendly. If you really liked it, you can follow, like, subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bad times, I don't